Alright, this is Bazooka-8259, and this is part 3 of the real grade Gundam review. And in this part we're going to be going over the weapons and accessories. So, first off, we get 2 closed fists, and these actually come attached to the arms in the pre-assembled runner of parts that you get. And basically they're just a little bit more realistic looking. These fists that are on the kit, of course, can close, but these ones right here just look a little bit better. And obviously, since they're closed, they can't hold anything. Next up, we get 2 beam sabers. I painted them a little bit of fluorescent pink here. They're still clear on the end, so I just kind of faded it out to clear pink as it got closer to the end. But anyway, you will notice that we do get 4 beam sabers. Now basically you get these 2 beam sabers on the back, which have a hole in them, and then you get 2 more with a peg. So you get 2 with a hole, 2 with a peg. These 2 beam sabers with holes in them really can't be held in the hand. Well, I mean, they can, but not very securely. And basically they're just meant for show, for storage on the backpack. And with that peg, or not peg, that hole, you can fit them onto a peg on the back of the shield, and they can store away on the back of the shield like so. Although, in retrospect, I kind of wish that the shield had a hole instead of a peg, and we could store these 2 extra beam sabers on the back of the shield. But, oh well. And the reason they have a peg is because there's a hole in the hand, and it kind of goes straight through. You can probably see it right there. And of course the peg just fits into the hand, and these are the beam sabers that are meant to be held. And one of my few complaints about this kit is, why on earth did Bandai include 1:100 scale beams in a 1:144 scale model kit? I mean, I guess if you like really long and exaggerated beam sabers, they would look nice, but they just kind of bother me. I mean, I know Bandai has 1:144 scale beams. Why didn't they include them with this kit? Why do they give them the same size beams that come with a master grade kit? I don't know. Just kind of puzzles me, but oh well. So anyway, that's the beam sabers. Of course, being the RX-78, we also get a beam rifle, which also has some internal detail on it, as you saw in part 2. And it's got a little bit of movement on it. The scope can move back and forth, like so. The front handle right here can move back and forth as well. And it's got, let's see, let me get one of these beam sabers. It's got a small little peg that flips out at the bottom that I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to get out. Anyway, it's got a peg that flips out here at the bottom. I'm not going to waste your time by trying to get that out. And it'll fit into the same hole in the hand that the beam sabers use. And one of the fingers came off. Another complaint I have about this kit is that while the posable hands are nice, they are very, very fragile. They're probably the most fragile part of the kit. But anyway, even without the peg deployed, he holds the beam rifle pretty well. So I'm probably not going to be using the peg very much, if at all, because I don't really see that he has much problem holding it without the peg. So, next up would be the Hyper Bazooka, and it's actually pretty nice. One of the nicer Hyper Bazookas I've seen. These little lines right here actually go all the way through, and you can see the missiles inside the Hyper Bazooka. The handle rocks back and forth like so for kind of a better grip, and it also has the same peg in it that is in the beam rifle. And RX-78, of course, can hold it. And You can get an over-the-shoulder pose or an under-the-arm pose, whichever you want. Either way, you should be able to hold it pretty well. And of course, we've got the classic RX-78 shield, which really isn't that much different than any other RX-78 shield, with the exception of the different shades of red on the front. We've got a sliding mechanism on the back, which slides up and down. See if I can do that a little more slowly. There we go. Go to pretty much any position you want. We've got a rotating peg right here that you can, this actually clips onto the side of the arm, and then he will hold onto the handle with his hand. Also, this peg right here can clip onto the backpack. So, yeah, pretty much he can use it the same way he uses a shield in every RX-78 model kit. Anyway, before I get to the core fighter, I will go over these. He comes with an extraordinarily tiny figure of Amuro-Ray in 1:144 scale. There he is standing next to the model kit. And we get an action-based connector, which goes into this little port on the back. If I can open it up. Let's see, the backpack's getting in the way. Might have to actually use the action-based connector to open it. There we go. So anyway, we've got this thing on the back skirt that opens up, and this is where the action-based connector is going to go into. It's not very secure though. I mean, it goes in and it holds, but it does feel kind of wobbly. So just be careful when you're posing him on an action base. Also, with this little connector, actually there's several things about these I forgot to mention. The Hyper Bazooka can be fitted on here. Or maybe I'm doing it wrong. Actually, I think it just holds it in place there. Oh well, the little thing just came off. Not doing a very good job of reviewing the kit at this point. Anyway, yeah, the Hyper Bazooka can be stored on the back. And also, one thing I forgot to mention is that the Hyper Bazooka and the beam rifle can be stored on the shield. Or at least, the peg's not wanting to go in. Get it to go in this one. Maybe the Hyper Bazooka wasn't meant to be stored on the shield. The beam rifle fits very well, but I thought that should have been able to go in, but it just doesn't want to. It's like the peg is too big. Maybe I was misreading the instructions. Maybe the Hyper Bazooka isn't supposed to fit on the shield. Oh well. I'll worry about that later. So for the last accessory, we get a small 1:144 scale core fighter, which is actually very, very nice looking. It's got some decals on it, some very, very tiny decals. I'm really glad that I bought the water slide decal set, because some of these were really, really tiny stickers on the front of the core fighter. If I'd used the clear stickers for those, it would have looked like an absolute mess. Anyway, we get landing gear here on the bottom, and you can just take that out. And even though it's in 1:144 scale, the core fighter still transforms. The wings fold up. Oh, I forgot to mention, the cockpit hatch does open. Anyway, that's going to go in. The nose cone folds down. And I'm actually glad that they didn't connect the tail fin to the nose cone, because that would have been a really small and fragile joint and probably would have broken very easily. So anyway, this is going to fold down and then slide up, and that's pretty much it. So we are going to crack open the RX-78, and this bottom piece is going to come off. And unfortunately, I haven't found a very good way to really get this thing open without completely, disassembling the model kit. This second red portion of the armor can come off, but it's very, very temperamental and kind of tricky. You just kind of have to work with it and be patient and try not to use too much excessive force because you don't want to break your kit. But with a little bit of coaxing, it should come out, even though it's not wanting to. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then you see we've got the core block in there. And I don't think it's going anywhere, unfortunately. Okay, after some coaxing and some having to actually take the torso apart, I finally was able to get the core block out, and that was a lot more trouble than I thought it was going to be. Anyway, we've got the core fighter here, and what you can do is set it down into the lower part of the torso, and then we can put this red part back. The core fighter goes in like so. Close the cockpit hatch, and there we go. Now, because that core fighter doesn't have the double ball joint in it like the core block has, your RX-78 isn't going to be quite as flexible in the torso as it was with the core block inside. So just be aware of that. So I guess that about does it for accessories, and that about does it for the review in general. So what are my final thoughts on the kit? The good points is that it has incredible detail. The panel lining is very, very nice. The decals are very, very nice, although I do recommend getting the water slide versions. They're not very expensive. They're only like $4, and you can get them pretty much anywhere that sells Gundam decals. I do like the articulation. The articulation is up there with newer master grades. I gotta hand it to Bandai. The hands are very, very nice, and it's just so surprising to see this much detail and this much quality packed into such a small package. And I just think that Bandai did a really nice job with it. The look of the RX-78 is very, very nice. I like the proportions, and I like the sculpting. The panel lines were very nicely done. I didn't have any problems filling them in, because sometimes, panel lines are too shallow and they don't want to fill in quite right when you're inking them, but I didn't have that problem with this kit. The weapons and accessories are nice. The transformable core fighter, while it did give me a little trouble switching it out, I think the core fighter itself is very nice. Let's see. We do get, some weapons and accessories, although I noticed that the Gundam hammer is missing, the beam javelin is missing, but I'm not really all that concerned about it because, honestly, I wouldn't find myself using the Gundam hammer or the beam javelin very much anyway. So, that's just me. There are a few bad things about the kit. There are a few parts that are kind of fragile because of their small size. The hands, for example. While the hands have not broken, I do find that the fingers like to pop out of their ball joints a lot. So that's something to watch out for. Some of the armor panels, like these on the back of the legs here, and some of these up on the arms, are very, very small. So you might want to be careful and make special attention not to lose any of them, because if you drop one, it's going to take you a while to find it. So yeah, very, very small parts. Let's see, anything else bad about the kit? I do find that it has very, very slight stability issues as far as actually standing on 2 feet, because of the feet having like 4 points of articulation. He is a little bit wobbly, but if you just, push his feet down in place, he should stand up fine. But then again, you can always put him on action base, which again is also a little bit wobbly. So overall, I think that this is a pretty nice kit. Definitely a good addition to anyone's collection. And I'll be interested to see what Bandai does with the real grade line in the future. The next real grade kit we'll be getting will be Char's Zaku 2, and actually it was just announced yesterday that it's coming out in November, and we got to see a nice prototype image of it. So I'm not sure if I'll be getting it or not, but I'm sure lots of people will, so you can look forward to their reviews if I don't get it. I may, though, I don't know. So I guess that about does it for the real grade RX-78-2 Gundam review, and I will see you guys next time.